Hello techies, I'm Divya here. On behalf of CyberBrainer, don't you think the world of tech is evolving faster than ever? Now is the perfect time to dive in and build the skills that will take you places. With CyberBrainer, we are putting you in the driver's seat of your own future. We at CyberBrainer don't just teach your interest. We believe that knowledge is power, but it's applied knowledge that truly sets you apart. Whether you're diving into data science, mastering artificial intelligence, or exploring the world of cybersecurity, our courses are designed to give you the skills that matter. So let's jump into the session and make the future yours today. Thank you.
3 operations. Today, I'm going to be doing 2 change job transactions and 1 I'm going to be doing a termination action. I'm going to be introducing change job business process and also termination business process. And today your activity for the weekend is going to be like all the way from hire, change job to terminate. You're going to be trying it over today. That will complete an entire employee cycle, and again you can go do all kinds of runs, everything that you want to do. You can refer to a regular termination business process and everything as well, and then find out new steps. I will share some materials as well, which is going to have more number of actions, and you can try more number of actions from your side as well. Any other actions that you want to do on it, just go ahead, try to find out what it is and how it works. And for all practical purposes, what I would rather say is assign it to our partner, because we do have an our partner available right now. Use manager or her partner. That's good. That's going to be a more easier role for everybody. Let me pick Logan McNeil because that particular person whom Krishnavini had hired is erroring out. I'm going to Logan McNeil right now. This is Logan McNeil's profile. I'm going to Logan McNeil and I'm going to be doing what is called as a change job transaction. We've seen hire transaction. What exactly a change job does? Change job for all practical purposes is a very, very important transaction which happens throughout the life cycle of an employee. It could be anything: change of supervisor, change of department, change of locations, promotion, demotion, pay raise, anything. It could be anything related to that is called asset change job transaction. If I say over here, I just come over to the related actions of this particular employee, and then I come to change job, and then I say I come over here and say start change job. I come over here and here. If you see, I've chosen the worker already, and next thing what I need to do is I need to choose what I want to do. I need to say, what do I want to do here? All, right? Now I'm going to say transfer worker to a different manager. I can choose promotion. I can say combination of changes, which could be multiple changes, or move worker to a different location. Say, for example, this person, Logan McNeil, has chosen to transfer to a different location. I can say move worker to a different location, and I'm going to say it all right this. But the problem is, if you see over here, the worker has pending events that conflict with this particular job change. Resolve the listed events. This is quite a common thing, because what has happened over here is Logan McNeil already has a promotion event, which was possibly initiated 3 months ago, and that's still in progress. I will just go ahead and cancel this particular event, that it's not going to go at conflict with ours. To cancel this, I go to this particular event over here. We call this as an event, which is a promotion event for Logan McNeil. Related actions, business process, cancel that. It's not going to intervene in our thing. It's like all the details about this business process which was initiated are available over here, and you need to definitely enter a comments, which is a mandatory one for cancellation. Alright, I'm just going to, because it was intervening, I'm just doing a cancellation right now and that is completed. If you see over here, you will get a pop-up saying this event is now cancelled and which means that I can go ahead and start another change job transaction, which is also available as a card for me. We call these as job cards and available only to specific users. I can either go from here, either go from actions, I can go to change job and then I can initiate it, or I can also pick one of those cards from the worker profile. Alright, let me go to the old school way. It's easier for you to understand. I went to job change from relevant actions and then I chose start job change. And then I'm going to say I'm going to move this particular person, Logan McNeil, to a different location. And probably you guys can definitely try these as well, just for a simple thing. I'm just trying only this because all of these business processes at the end of the day are going to be hitting only the same background business process, which we will see next. Now here, if you see, this is initiated a start job change transaction and these are the details which I need to fill over here. I just click on that simple pencil icon which is going to be to edit this. And then I'm going to say this change is going to be effective immediately, which is the current date, which is the 21st of September. Then I'm going to say the change is going to be like change location. And currently Logan McNeil is reporting out of San Francisco. I am going to be making a change over here and say that this person post, the change is going to be based out of New York. Alright, that's it. And then I'm going to say start this particular transaction. Alright. Once you hit start this particular transaction, all the details are going to be available. You can review these details and once you review it, you can submit it. If you see over here, when this was going to be submitted, change location, and then this is going to be New York, and what is going to be the location? If there are any other changes in this, because for the location which I have chosen over here, the scheduled weekly hours which is expected for any employee working out of New York is populated, and if I'm going to choose another location, probably based out of Europe, say, for example, if Logan McNeil is going to be moving from San Francisco to Europe, then the work hours over here need not necessarily be 40, but instead it could be 37.5 or 35, based on the location where Logan McNeil is going to be based out of. This particular scheduled weekly hours is populated based on the location. Since it is New York, it is automatically populated 40 hours. Remember when you set up the location, you also had a scheduled weekly hours set up as a part of the location. That is precisely where this is actually populating from, and any workspace, work shift or these resort during location creation, and all that I need to do now is submit. And again, we have a business processes called as change job business process, just like what you saw in hire. If you see over here, I click on view details, you have submitted data change for Logan McNeil, and I go to the details and processes option and I go to process tab. If you see over here, first this has been change or this has been initiated by Carol Lee, and next it goes across to a review by the receiving manager, and review by the current manager is shown as not required. Any reason why it shows as not required, or how would you debug this? Any thoughts on how I would go and debug why it is showing us not required over here? Anything that comes in your mind, and how would I go about with debugging? How do you traverse to the business process from this event? That is a standard, one which I taught you for hire as well. It is the same. You go to the process. Any one of these rows related actions. That's it. View definition very simple. What it will do is for this particular transaction, What it is the business process which has been triggered for this change job is going to be shown. It is automatically going to take you to this particular change of here. It shows the transactions associated with the following BP definition, which is change job for global modern services company. And this particular transaction or this particular business process has many relevant steps, and each of them is conditionalized. This is typically a real world scenario. If you ask me, this is ideally how a change of transaction will look like. I was looking for a similar one for hire, but I couldn't get one. But this is ideally or as close as it gets, alright. If you see first one, you have initiated the business process. I'm just moving between both these tabs. First you had initiated. It was initiated by Carol Lee. Alright, and I want to ask one question. Why was Carol Lee able to initiate this transaction? And will I know if another user like, say, Joy Banks, will Joy Banks be able to initiate this transaction? Can we find out if Joy Banks can also initiate this transaction? If, how will you find out? How will you find out if Joy Banks can also policy? And if you want to quickly check for the initiator loan, you see over here, there is an option here called as security group restrictions. If I go and open this, this is going to only pop up the initiating security groups, not the other ones. If you want to quickly check only the initiating security groups, instead of traversing all the way to the business process, policies, and everything. If you want to find out only the initiating security groups, this is where I would do alright. Carol Lee is part of the manager security group. That is why she was able to initiate it. Alright, clear. Only for initiating security groups. If I want to find it, I can either go to the business process policies and find it out, or the shortcut will be like finding it from the security group restrictions, which is going to only have the initiating security groups clear. Any questions here? Alright now. We've seen about the change of business process. First, it was initiated by Carol Lee. The next step shows us review by current manager, and if I go to this particular business process event, it shows this particular review by current manager as not required. Why it was not required was it is by a current manager review. But if you see, there is implied condition, which means it's a Workday owned condition, which says the business process was initiated by request transfer task. We have another task which is called as transfer. That transfer effectively means transferring from one supervisory organization to another supervisory organization. I think you will remember earlier when I asked you to create multiple supervisory organizations and transfer people from one organization to another organization. That is when we will have transfer done. That is effectively when this particular step will be initiated. It will be initiated only when I'm going to be initiating a transfer from one support to another support, and what it means by a review. Current manager and a proposed manager is, say, Alien is the supervisory organization, A is manager, and if a person is going to be the supervisory organization, B is super manager. If a person is going to be transferred from A to B, current manager will be Aryan and the proposed manager will be Pravalika. You're moving from A to B. Aryan is the manager of A and Pravalika is the manager for B. It's going to be like from A to B. That's what the current and proposed manager is going to be clear. Any questions here on how exactly a business process works? Is it all clear, trans? See what is the transaction that we did over here for Logan McNeil. What is the change that we did? Location. Location. What is this actually? We changed only the location. Was there a change in the supervisory organization? Was there a change in the supervisory organization? No, and this is specifically only for transfer. When transfer is initiated is from one support to another support. This is not only for this case. In any organ, any kind of a business process, step, the moment you see this as not required, where you need to be looking at is your if criteria. For example, this particular approval step, job change, is transfer right? I don't think this is going to work over here right now because it says change job type is going to be transfer only. Then it will go for an approval by the manager. And when I go to this particular transaction a little further down the line, I will see that for this particular approval by manager, it will show as not required. Because this criteria would not have been fulfilled. This criteria would not have been fulfilled. Clear? Any questions there? Are we clear? Are you guys with me? Or is it like quite overwhelming? But this is a or. I would say this is how a real world change of transaction will look like. Yesterday, we saw only the simple hire step because I wanted you to understand what is going to be a hire and how exactly it might look like. But in a real world change job, this is how it will look like, and I'll just explain some more actions over here. First, we saw review by current manager, which was skipped. Next, if I go over here, it says review by receiving manager, but it's a waiting action by lot packer, which is the proposed manager. If I go here, it shows over here lot packer, and I can go on proxy and if I have the proxy access. Let me see. I don't know whether I have the access to proxy in as, I don't have the access to proxy in as lot backer. Any questions over here? Guys, I will just proceed on and I'll take you through all of these steps next. Alright, the next thing over here is if the job change is going to be a transfer, I'm not able to go in and log in as that particular person and then to take you through the entire process. But I'm just explaining this. If this change of type is going to be transferred, which is like moving person from one supervisory org to another supervisory org, it is called as a transfer. In our case, it is not a transfer. This is not going to go across and it will be skipped, which means it will show against this particular step as not required. And next, if you see over here, I have a review change job step by and her partner supervisory. Anybody can tell me what exactly a review does over here? Because we have an approval over here by manager's manager, which is of course going to be skipped. But what exactly is the difference between a review and an approval and an approval? And this does not have any criteria as well. It's going to be there for everybody. Every single review change job, every single change of transaction is going to be reviewed by her partner at a supervisory organization level. Can somebody tell me what exactly is the difference? For example, if over here we have submitted a location change from San Francisco to New York, and when her partner comes over to review this, instead of New York, he can give a location as Jersey or even a location as Atlanta. That's up to her partner. He can definitely go and edit and approve it. It is not necessary for him to just approve it, deny pushback, but he can also review and edit the information which is there. He can also change the effective date. I had given the effective date as yesterday, the 21st of September, but her partner, when he comes across to that review step, he can also go and edit the information. He can possibly change the date from, say, the 21st of September to the 1st of October, due to some administrative reasons. That is also possible over here. Alright. Next, any kind of org change or assignments is going to be like, see this particular person. Whenever we are going to go for a change in the location, there is obviously going to be some changes in the organization assignment by organization assignment. What I mean is, this is the Global Modern Services Supervisory Organization where local Neil is working. And if I come to Organization tab, you will see all of these company cost center regions and all the other stuff which we created earlier. If a person is going to move from one location to another location, obviously there might be some changes in the cost center as well, correct? That is what this particular task deals with. This particular task deals with changing all the organization assignments which you have over here, and this will be common for any change job and hire assignments which happen. You will have change of assignments by default for any hire or change of transactions which are going to be the cost center or change of transactions which are going to happen. This will be more likely a default step because your cost center has to be assigned or they need to be reviewed and edited if there is any change of transaction. That is what it's all going to be. Drilling out clear? Any questions over here? Right. The next one, assign collective agreement. Not sure whether collective agreement is going to be applicable over here. Collective agreement in a nutshell. The next one is going to be more specific for you. If there are any kind of agreements, labor agreements and laws and everything, that is when this is going to be applicable. Even over here, if you see only the criteria, says country with collective agreements, alright. If I go to the relevant actions for this, it is going to list the list of countries over here. Like I said, it is more for you. In Europe, you are going to have Austria, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Italy. No way everywhere. It says over here location in the country. It's going to be any of these. Only then this step is going to get triggered, which is the assignment of collective agreements. Like I said, it's more for you, not for North America. Next is there a proposed compensation change. Is there any compensation change involved in this particular transaction? Because a person is moving from San Francisco to New York, he may have one more or one less competent pace based on the city that you are going to be working out of, because the compensation usually changes based on the location there you're going to be working out of, and the only criteria here is going to be as a worker, an employee, not initiate a change job, etc. All this because contract workers may not be eligible for this. Only a regular worker is going to be eligible for this, and we have over here the group as comp partner. Next, if I go over here to the next one, Works Council, it's more applicable only for Germany, France, Belgium and a few other relevant countries. You may skip that as well. I don't want to get into that again. Next one, a manage business process for worker. Allow only if there are cancelable events. This is just a simple check which we usually have, but you can just ignore it because it's not going to do anything at all. It's just going to view all the business processes there are for the worker, any pending ones, in progress ones, approval ones, which is going to be reviewed by the her partner. Next pay group, we saw over here about compensation relevant changes. Appropriately, any compensation relevant changes is also going to be, or it's going to have a one-on-one relationship with the pay group level assignments as well. Once, if there is a change in the compensation, your pay group may also change. You may ask me why. Because you may be initially part of, say, a pay group which is only for San Francisco, and you may have some local legislations which are going to warrant a change in the pay group as well. Because certain, probably, if you know the laws in the US, every state has a different pay group pay cycle, and some state like California may have different pay cycles. Other states may have a different pay cycle, and you may want to have something. You may want to move from a bi-weekly to a monthly pay cycle. All that is going to be determined by this. If there is a change because of this location, if there is a change in the pay group, this action will also be triggered. And again, this is going to be only if based on this particular criteria, You have over there all the setups and everything that is a Workday owned one. And next you have like the country has a pay group or if the position is going to be changed. This is something which is given at a custom level because they do not want to unnecessarily change the pay group if he is going to be moving within the same country. Probably because your pay group has all been set up at a country level. You do not want to have any changes done. That is effectively what it is, but you can define it the way you want it based on your organization requirements. Next, update your time offs. Definitely see. I want you to look at this from a business process perspective because if a person is moving from one location to another location, I need to ensure that is all his absence balances that are accumulated is also moved to the new location because each location may have a different set of time offs, accumulation rules and everything. Certain states could pay you more number of leaves per year. Certain locations may have lesser. The holiday calendar is going to change. Many other changes are going to happen. That is what is determined by this updated time of requests and again the time of transfer plan. It's all the same. Both of them are going to be one or more the same any time of plans which you have in the next 1 month or future ones. That is what this is. And next one, transfer balances, all the leave accumulations which you had. All that is going to be coming in. Next assignment of our U payroll. We saw payroll pay group it, and this is going to be specific only for UK if you're going to be based out of UK. And then user group assignments. We will see this on Monday. When we get to that, maintain employee contract is going to be only for the contingent workers, only and not for the regular workers. Next, this is also change order for contract workers. Because if you know how a contractor works, every employee or every contract worker is going to be tagged to a specific contractor aid, which is going to be the aid of your contract. That is effectively where this comes in. Create a change order. Alright, in the change benefit election, what is going to be changed? Benefit election is different. Different states or different locations may have different benefit plans as well, based on the location that you're going to be. If there is any change over there, that is going to be done. Next, changes superior supervisor organization. If your organization is going to change, if your supervisor organization, all that is going to change, your entire hierarchy is going to change. All that is going to happen. Alright. And again, if you're going to move from one country to another country, then should you have any kind of an onboarding done for this? Because if you're going to be the us, especially where this is going to come in, is if you're going to change from one location to another location, and if you're going to be an expat, then you may have to have some I-9 processings done as well. Because if you are going to say, for example, if you move from New York to the other side of us, say to California or San Francisco, you're going to have a new I-9 process set up as well. All that will be part of your onboarding business process. In a nutshell, this is how the entire onboarding, change of business process is going to look like. And this is as close as it could get to a real world scenario. Clear on this and all these steps. When you take a look at today, just try to look at them through the lens of a real world perspective. That's how I would go about with it. Clear activity for you today is use this change job for global modern services, clone it, and what I would say is have all these steps assigned to a partner or a manager. That is much better. Let's not get into any other roles. Or partner or manager. Yes, business process copy or link. Alright, and initially, when you do it, don't have such a big long list. Try to start with 2-3 steps and then expand it, and then expand it. And again, this is for global modern services company. I would want you to give it for your support that you have created. Alright, you made it one or more of these steps and conditions and everything. All these conditions over here. You can have one or more of these conditions. Remove them. Try to play around with this. I want you to. In a nutshell, I want you to understand what these steps are from a business perspective. That's the only intent, because by now you guys should be familiar with how the business process transaction works, how I can play around with the business process, the policies and everything. The next step is going to be to understand a little bit of more business relevant steps over there. That's my intent. Clear on this? Any questions? And like I said, you can do any kind of change job. You can change the supervisor, you can change the location. Any transaction that you want, you can do. And I will also try to pick the hire for this particular business transaction because yesterday it was not visible. Now it is visible because I just made a small change in the domain set policy. Hire for I have this all right. They've created a hire as well for this particular organization. That is more a closer one to the actual, real one. That's why I'm just picking this hire for global, modern services, which is the work they delivered, supervise the organization. Alright. Oh, somebody's played around with this tough luck. I thought they wouldn't have played with this, but something has been changed. Pretty higher, higher. I try to pick a better definition for this because they have actually played around with this a lot and they've changed much of stuff. I was hoping that it should be a little simpler. One happens to be not alright. The next thing I just want to show you today is about termination business process. Termination. Ideally, when I'm going to be terminating any person, that is when this particular termination business process is going to be triggered. For example, let me go to Logan McNeil. I go to relevant actions over here and I am going to be terminating Logan McNeil right now. If I come to join, change job, I say terminate employee. Then I already have all of these changes which are currently being done. Is somebody doing an additional change job over here? Hello, is somebody actually working on the change job, additional change job for Logan McNeil which we saw just now? No worries, alright. This is something which I have done. Before I initiate a terminate business process, what will ideally happen is this. These two transactions you should have been closed or taken to a logical closure. That's why we are not able to go ahead with this. Alright. When I'm going to be having a terminate business process, ideally this terminate business process is quite lean over here. That you don't see any big challenges. But ideally in a real world terminate business process, you will have multiple steps as well. That's number one and number two. I think it was Ketika who asked this particular question, right? Whenever I'm going to be terminating somebody, I also need to have relevant actions where there is going to be a handoff of the roles that particular person is doing to somebody else, right? If you see over here, I can have an action over here and I can say assign role changes and everything which is going to take care of all the rules which probably my user, in this case Logan McNeil, is going to be doing. I can have this reassignment done to somebody else. Clear? If you see over here, if I say assign roles, change assignment for worker, this is the relevant action which I will use. Currently, if I'm going to terminate Logan McNeil, if Logan McNeil is, for example, the partner for the supervisory organization RAN, who is going to be the new hot partner for Ryan's supervisory organization post the termination of Logan McNeil. That is defined by this particular action, and for this particular action, I can have it as a step and I can have certain people assigned as the person who will be assigning all of this. Let me just have this assigned as a partner. This is just a simple step that I have over here, and I will say let me just give the order as B. First step, this is a very simple definition what this particular VP is going to be doing. This is a default termination business process which I've used over here. Sign sticker. I think this is assigned as a completion step. Let me just put this as a completion step. Should be the completion step. Yep, got. What will happen is first, whenever I'm going to have a termination initiated for somebody, the first step that is going to happen is it's going to be initiated by a person. Next, change, job change, assignments for the worker. If, like I said, if the person is going to be a hot partner for, say, an organization, RIN supervisory organization, who is going to be the new hot partner for that particular supervisory organization is determined by this particular step. And likewise, I can have many different steps as well, including some of the ones which are common are like changing the benefit election effective the termination date, which means I'm going to be stopping the benefit election, say effective the termination date. For example, if Logan McNeil is going to be terminated effective today, I can have a step which is going to say stop the benefit termination effective the 22nd of September. I can have another one saying that change payroll effective date. I can send across a note and number of other transactions or other steps in my business process, which could be like changing the benefit, election or post termination date, changing the payroll date. Or I can even inactivate a person's Workday profile, saying that inactivate this particular Workday profile. Effective the termination date. I can have multiple search actions done as a part of my termination business. We've already seen about hire. If you want to play around with the hire business versus, have some more steps. Do it and then, for the same worker, initiate a change job, and you may have to create your own change job definition based on the one that I showed for global modern services, and I bring the name of that particular business process on the chat. Please pick it up, and then once you do it, try to terminate the business term. Try to have a termination initiated for the same worker as well, and you may want to play around with this termination business process as well and see how that works as well clear on the activity for the day, and you may have one and more of steps and whatever steps you want. You try to do it and try to have her partner for now assigned her partner and manager. I'll try to fix some of these security assignments around other roles as well in the maintained security group assignment because multiple roles have many other issues. I'll try to fix as much as I can over the weekend and hopefully have more role assignments clear. And please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.